And this is what happens when you try to get all fancy. LG, it's good to see you. Paris, good to see you. All clear now. Mondays, right? Ravonda, good to meet you. Thanks for being here. If you guys have questions, go ahead and put that in the comment section below. Today, I needed to address the issue where people are really struggling to get the other person out of their mind. The other rebound person. I don't know if it's because of they feel, like their ego's bruised after the breakup, or if they genuinely are still just reeling, breaking up, or having that breakup with that person. So I decided to come on here tonight and just talk about that because I get this so much in the comment section. I get this a lot. I get emails. I get I used to get messages on Patreon, but my DMs on Instagram it gets kind of overwhelming sometimes. So I figured I would go ahead and just address it here on this YouTube live. Why can't you get over this person? Why can't you bounce back from, I guess, finding out the knowledge or the information that this person has started to date someone else right away? And there's a big difference between monkey branching and rebound relationship. The monkey branching is usually when a person has already started to be courted by someone or started to explore other options, and then they decide to bounce over there when they felt like it was healthy enough for them to do it or safe enough for them to do it. But for you, you're like, what in the world just happened? My life is falling apart, right? And rebound is someone who has just broken up with you and decided, the best way that they were going to heal is to get with someone else. And usually when you're the person that got broke up with, you would like to think that the other person took the time to deal with their emotions, deal with their issues, but they chose to be with someone else. And it's really a blow, a dagger to the heart. It's really hurtful. The men that I coach, they struggle the most with thinking about the other woman, the other guy that this person has started to date, because it's now I know for a fact they've told me that it was more of their ego, and they feel like they've lost a competition to someone else, but it's usually not the case, because I've learned a long time ago that women check out of relationships before they actually come to you about the breakup. They've already processed it. They're going through the emotions. They're doing a comparison when they're with you. So if you're a guy that's been with someone for a while, I'm sorry, I'm getting over a cold, so I'm a little congested. I apologize. If you're someone that's kind of trying to figure out what in the world just happened, go back and look at the signs. Go back and look at when she stopped, doing loving things consistently. When did she stop putting you on that pedestal? Because there's always a time where you go back and you think of fonder days and better days. When did she stop saying and initiating phone calls, initiating I love yous, and even initiating intimacy? Go back to then. And that's probably when she was already starting to break out, to separate herself emotionally, and when she was starting to emotionally check out. I feel like Michael Jordan flu game right now. It's a huge gut punch. And for women, I think it's more the emotion when someone breaks up with them and they go and get rebounded on. It's more of it's the emotions that they have to deal with and process. But they're so much better at it by and large. They're so much better at it because they're good at leaning on their community and leaning on their natural resources to help them process it. But for men, since we like to go at it alone, it's hard for us, and if you're talking about an avoidant man, it's really hard for them. An anxious attached man, he have no problem telling his problems to Anyone he sees at the restaurant, or if he's having a drink somewhere, just talking about what he's feeling. But for the avoidant person, it's not so simple. All right, let me go back to these comments. Christy Joy, good to see you. I've learned to accept it and not put this person on a pedestal. So essentially, we all when you start dating someone and you're in the honeymoon stage, they're naturally going to be on that pedestal already. I don't know if anyone goes into relationships and just think like, we're just gonna, this person's okay. Then again, like, you're settling. You shouldn't settle in the first place. You should have someone you feel equally yoked as you, not someone that's too far above you, not someone that's too far below you. Because if you pick someone that you decide this seems like a safe bet, you're probably not going to always be, probably not going to be totally into that person, which means you may cut the eye at someone else if you start to see a better option. And you also don't want to put someone where you put them on a pedestal, because then you're naturally going to feel like this person's doing me a service, doing me justice by even being and talking to me, being with me and talking to me. I've learned to accept it. All right, people hung on relationships are generally toxic or unhealthy themselves. Can you opinionated? Can you explain that a little bit more? My ex comments and likes my Facebook posts all the time and even reaches out on the text, but she is in a rebound. How do I get over her and move on and stop the games? If you need to set those hard boundaries for you to heal yourself, set those hard boundaries. I don't recommend blocking people because it makes you look emotionally immature. But if you have to heal yourself, and if anything, she's doing more of the immature things herself, and actually disrespectful, and not respecting your boundaries, especially if she broke up with you. I don't know the story, but how do I get over her and move forward? First is to cut all contact with her. That's first and foremost. Um, when you get to the point where you're emotionally regulated enough, you won't have to do things like blocking or deleting, because you'll know once you see the glitch in the matrix, and you know how people operate and the different patterns that they've shown you. You won't take it personal. You won't even entertain it. Huge gut punch. It's almost been a year for me. Okay, so that's another story that I want to talk about. I mean, I've worked with guys that's been 2-3 years out of their relationship, and even women that have been 2-3 years out. How do I know this? Because they follow me. A lot of people I coach, I still talk to, and they have yet to get over the person that the person left and got into a relationship with someone else, where they're kind of stalking their social media, seeing that they're getting married, seeing that they're getting engaged, seeing that they're just apparently are having happier lives than they did when they were with them. And it starts this comparison, this FOMO, this I can't believe this person has moved on. It makes them feel really bad about themselves. But I'm a believer that anytime that someone gives you is a gift. It's not something that is required. No, it's not a necessity. It's something that they're doing out of the kindness of their own heart. Because once you pass away, at the end of your life, there's only going to be one name on that tombstone. It's going to be yours. It's not going to be you and your ex, you and someone else. It's going to be just you. So try to live in gratitude of the time that person gave you, and not live in lack and upset about the time that they're not giving you. You know, we're just all borrowing each other's time anyway, right? I really feel that way. And I feel like if you live in that gratitude, and you know your worth, and you know what you have to bring to the table, there's no need for you to keep longing over people that just doesn't want to go in the same direction as you. Because essentially what it is you think about jobs, you think about a career that you've had, with an employer for 15 years, and all of a sudden they say, hey, we're just going a different direction business wise. It may feel very personal when they decide to just let you go because they cut your department. But you have to realize that, hey, this is kind of life. And these are the things I like to teach my kids, is people are going to do what they want to do, and they're going to go in a different direction sometimes, and you have to be okay with that. There was a guy that long time ago, it must have been what's 2023. I want to say back in 2015, 2014, 2015. This guy went to a continued education course, and he really helped me out. I was younger, much younger, and he was. What was the course? The course was it was secondary trauma course where as a caregiver to people, you have to learn how to take care of yourself and how to relieve stress, whatever. And he was teaching you different methods on how to do that. T being one of them. If you're a therapist, getting a therapist yourself, or if you're a coach, getting a coach yourself. I firmly believe in that. But he was talking about how there's two absolutes in life. This guy must have been like 72, 73. And I've always been really into listening to people who are older and more wiser, and um, their knowledge, just they've had so much stuff that they've lived through and so many experiences that I just always try to eat that up. I think that's why I read so much. I listen to so many podcasts because it's pretty much a compilation of everything people have been through. And why not learn how to live instead of live to learn, right? So he was telling me that there's two absolutes in life. Everything dies and everything changes. And he says it's about how you deal with those two facts of life. It's going to determine what type of person you are. And a lot of the work that I do is to prepare me for when things change and when people pass away, unfortunately and unexpectedly. So that's part of the reason that um, I wanted to start this channel too. It's because I wanted to help people transition from that stage that they were currently in and make it to the next one in a healthy way. And I also wanted to be the person that I wanted to find when I was going through my breakups and going through my relationship woes, right? And it's not like I won't have more relationship woes because we all do. Like this, it's if we're talking life here, if you think about forever is a really long time. And even if you were dating someone for 40 years, that's still a long time. A lot of things can happen in between. Like they say on the philosophy, um, you know, on your tombstone, you have the birth date and the end date. But they said the dash is the most significant part because that's where everything actually happened. Right? That's when things become the most meaningful. And you've done it all, you know. So anyway, I digress. Learn how to live. Yeah, Paris. Actually, my stepdad taught me that one. And that's actually a funny story there. I was thinking I knew it all. I was 17 years old. Didn't know if I was going to go to school. Didn't know if I was going to play football still. And I remember we were standing in the kitchen. I remember this exact conversation. He was saying, well, what are you going to do? I'm like, I'll figure it out. Well, I think you should do that. I got it. I got this. And he's like, Courtney, don't you want to learn how to live instead of live to learn? And I'm thinking in my back of my mind, like, yeah, I think I'm going to live to learn because, you're 17. I knew everything at that time. Come to find out, I didn't know as much as I thought I did. So from that day forward, I actually started to peek, open my ears up a little bit to him to get some of that wisdom that he had. It's monkey branching similar to a rebound. All right. So I answered that before you came in here. Monkey branching is it's essentially a form of monkey branching, right? Of rebounding. Rebounding is when you get into a relationship after, like that's the point. You shoot a basketball, someone's got to catch it off the rebound. But monkey branching is we've already got this thing established. I've already got this relationship built with you. I just have to leave my current person for you. And that's the one that's the most painful because they won't admit it. Usually they won't admit it. Usually they won't say, hey, I was already talking to this person, or this person was just a friend, that helped, that listened to me and whatever else throughout your breakup. But yeah, it's a form of rebounding. Emotion attached long before they leave. Right, Polka Dot. They women in particular, they often shut down, check out before they have that, hey, I want to divorce or I want a breakup conversation with you. And I really think it's because they fight. Now, I know if you're in the comment section and you subscribe to a certain type of coaching, kudos to you. But I've lived probably with 9 or 10 women in my life, and I think I know a little bit about them. They usually have already mulled this over. They stayed until they had no feelings left whatsoever. There are women out there that I was going to make a video about that. Let me write this down too, because before I forget. Five reasons women cheat. That's probably going to be my next video. So be on the lookout for that one. But yeah, they've already checked out. I think I'm definitely turning anxious attachment to secure. I see so many internal changes on me, and it's been great. I feel free. It's hard and on certain days, but I feel like I'm finally overcoming. It is a journey. It is a true journey of self-discovery, inner child work, learning how to set healthier boundaries, learning how to communicate better, learning what you don't know, identifying red flags early on, being comfortable with ending those relationships and being okay with the what ifs that comes along with ending those relationships. It's a lot. It's very convoluted. It's not, what they say, healing is a messy process, and it really is. I honestly have relationship fatigue nowadays. Very, very common. I'm surprisingly content with focusing my love inward for now. A lot of people run from themselves and believe rebound relationships will fix them. Yes, that is very true too. Um, that's kind of the old saying where they say the quickest way to get over someone is get under someone else. I think it's a very toxic quote, very unhealthy way of looking at things, because eventually what's going to happen is you're going to end up with not just one broken heart, but two. And you're going to take all of the stuff that you brought from the last relationship and move it into the next one. And then, so there's people who are healing from a breakup, but because they have a pattern of getting into relationship after relationship, they're really healing from 9 other breakups that they've never really addressed. They've never taken the time to process, assess what they needed to do in the future to heal themselves, essentially. Paris, it's good to see you. Me and Paris go back, what, 3, 4 years? She's been on the channel. That's awesome. You're the original here. Okay, Ernie, you got to set boundaries for yourself. All right. Yeah, all right. Yeah, everyone answered your question there, Ernie. I hope you're still here. Set strong boundaries for yourself. I'm sorry about the rocky startup. Technology is great when it's working, but it's not so great when you have to fix it. All right. That's all I got for you guys tonight. Great discussion. Thank you for asking the questions. If you guys are interested in my coaching group, I'm opening that back up. We meet every Wednesday night. Do monkey branches ever come back for closure? I've never seen it. Okay, I don't want to over disclose some stories here, but I was coaching a guy that girlfriend did come back, and they still remain friends, but she didn't exactly say that she was sorry for how she treated him, or didn't admit to actually having another person in the picture. She actually didn't admit that. We meet at 7 o'clock Central on Wednesday nights. I know that's tough for people across seas. Um, But yeah, we're going through a book right now, and it's been really fun to do. So that's going to be opening back up within the end of this week. For next month, April sign up. All right. If you guys want my help personally, reach out to me on my website at www.fruitfulseeds.com. And thank you for being here, Virtual Minds. And I want you guys to always remember, right? When you go be loved, you'll never have to find it.